wee Rick!
We got something real good here. Oh,
Mr. Poopy Butthole, but smoking for 50 years. That was me.
Thanks, Mr. Poopy Butthole. You're really helpful.
You know what this is? We've got an hour and a half. We're just going to do it. I'm just going to go through my entire shelf, and he's going to pitch in occasionally.
It's a special episode.
Yeah, we've got nothing to do, so we're just going to record this.
Special in, special kind of way.
Right. I'm going to go to the top one's my favourite shelf, which I have for some reason.
Yeah, I'm noticing a distinct difference in quality between these different shelves.
They're not particularly bad. They're just all the Doctor Who DVDs. Because they look nice together. They're not in order.
They please me.
I don't think Planet of the Daleks came after An Unearthly Child. Well, it did. Well, it did, but
not directly after.
Right.
But anyway, let's go.
Let's start. The Monty Python films got this box set for my birthday. They're all amazing. Life of Brian's is really clever commentary on religion.
They're all great.
It has aliens in the film, which is the best part.
They're all great in their own way. That's what I love Monty Python films.
Yeah, Meaning of Life is just this really bizarre series of clips.
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail is great. Everyone says it's their favourite.
Holy Grail is an absolute classic.
It is. I'd say
the coconuts.
I'd say actually my order is Life of Brian, then Meaning of Life, then Holy Grail, then.
And now for something completely different. You see, I love And Now for Something Completely Different. It's just random sketches.
Yeah, that's the order, like favourite to least favourite. But they're still all my favourite. Some of my favourite films.
Right, what's next?
Flying Circus, Monty Python. I put these next to each other. Complete box set. This is amazing. I need to one day watch this all in order. I've watched pretty much all of it anyway.
Actually, for my grade 4 flute exam,
You did that.
Yeah, I played the fucking flute. Okay.
I think we played All Star on the clarinet. We actually did that in year 4.
No, just sort of alien confidence. You blow, I'll do the fingering.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but for my grade 4 flute exam, one of the pieces I actually do was the Liberty Bell, which is the theme song to Monty Python's Flying Circus. I didn't realise it at the time, but I think I might still be able to play it.
You probably do.
I'd be happy to.
Right,
be able
we've
to
got
do
a couple of Doctor Who stories. Survival, which you've seen.
Oh, it's all the good Doctor Who stories.
Yeah,
really good. Yeah.
Survival
is one of the best pieces of science fiction I've ever read, watched, or listened to. Consumed, and absolutely my favourite episode of Doctor Who.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Survival's my favourite.
It's like 6th favourite.
Well,
favourite non 10 out of 10 story. I definitely
favourite 10 out of 10 Woodbank Jam. Yes. Otherwise, Pyramids of Mars.
Pyramids of Mars.
And what have we got? We've got Pyramids of Mars, Frontier in Space, The Invasion,
Stones of Blood, City of Death.
Oh, City of Death.
You need to watch City of Death.
I've read City of Death. It's brilliant. Fucking love it.
War Games and Genesis.
So basically, all the ones are unequivocally good.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch any to get into classics, watch those.
Yeah, those are Genesis and Pyramids of Mars are like the big hitters.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Frontier in Space was a starter point or Stones of Blood, but any of the others, yeah.
Yeah. It's ironic.
Maybe not like Invasion or War Games because they're a bit long.
Yeah, but ironic that I say Survivor's a great way to get into the classic series. It's relatively short. It's got that. It's got that. It's good if you're used to the new series because it's relatively short. Got the contemporary setting, and it's still like science fiction, proper good science fiction.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take them off as we go.
Yeah,
it's gonna look like a mess.
What else is there?
Right, we're going this way. Right, 10 Cloverfield Lane. We both saw it in the cinema.
It's great.
It's
great. It's also absolutely fucking terrifying. So might not. I don't know whether I'd recommend it.
It's a 15 in Ireland.
Yeah, they've probably got better sounds. This thing's rated 12 in the UK,
which is great because we can actually see it in the cinema.
Yeah, but it's obviously there's no gore or there's very little gore, but psychologically, Jesus.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely brilliant.
Clockwork Orange. It's my 5th favourite film.
Right,
it's really good. It's got this incredibly well done visual style. It's such. it's a weird existentialist experience.
Yeah, there's no real way to describe. Because the most interesting thing about Clockwork Orange, I think, is the fact that there's actually an extra chapter at the end of the book they didn't include in the film.
Yeah, I have the book over there. We could do the books at one point.
Because like with that because obviously at the end of the film, you know, I was cured, it's fixed.
Right.
But then the next chapter shows the main character with a completely new gang of droogs back up to what he was doing at the start.
I prefer the ending to this then.
Well, I think I like that because it essentially shows how completely ineffectual the society really is because it can't really change it.
Oh, prison systems. That's the commentary.
Yeah, the commentary on prison systems.
It doesn't do anything in the end. You're not trying to rehabilitate people. You're just trying to grind them down.
Doesn't change them at all. Now we have two of my favourite films of all time in the same place.
Right. But I think about the prison system, it's mainly about punishment rather than rehabilitation, which is the point. That's the point of prisons.
Yeah, you shouldn't really claim a prison is for rehabilitation because it's not. It's for punishment.
Yeah,
that's the justice.
Even
works.
though it is the point of prisons in the first place. I was listening to something the other day, and it said apparently that everything, you know, if you look at the Victorian era and you look at now, everything is completely different apart from the way schools are done. It's like schools are pretty much the same in a way.
What do you think?
Almost, right, pretty much basically the same. Everything basically is different.
Yeah, I sort of know what you mean, but
Or was it? I think it was later actually.
Yeah, like the school systems can be very.
Because schools have not adapted to the times. That's
that's
the major problem.
They pay lip service to doing it, but they haven't really.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the funniest film I've ever watched.
Airplane.
Watch it. Drop everything you are doing. Watch Airplane if you hadn't. It's brilliant.
No, airplane.
Airplane
With
exclamation mark.
Yeah, it's even got him doing disco on the back.
Yeah, I mean, just it's an absolute. It's my favorite. One of my favorite films, and it's basically a parody of those 50s air disaster movies. But when you've got lines like, "And that's what started my drinking problem."
And then he smashes the drink.
Yeah, and he throws it, and he slops the drink into his face. And surely you can't be serious. Yes, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
It's such a reverent humour.
Oh, and don't forget, we're all counting on you.
It's just constant, and the sweat.
Yeah, the sweat. And do you see the vulture? In one of the shots in the cockpit, it cuts back to him, and there's just a vulture behind him for no reason.
Oh yes. Oh, Alien.
Yeah, again, watch it. It's great.
This is the director's cut.
Ah, even better. Probably the best science fiction film of all time.
Actually, it's 110. 1 hour. No, 110 minutes. The director's
That's
cut.
an hour 50.
And 1 hour 56 for the original.
Yeah, really shorter. What did he get? What is there to get rid of though with Alien? It's such a pure and streamlined
Maybe they got rid of a
experience.
few scenes that contradicted stuff in the future.
I don't know. Again, though, it's also very economical. The only thing you could really do is add scenes because there are a couple of spots in the theatrical where I felt there were bits missing.
Oh look, there's a first draft screenplay.
Ooh.
So that'll actually be really.
Actually, fun fact about the screenplay of Aliens: none of the characters were gendered until they actually cast them. They wrote all the characters.
I think that's pretty much how you should do stuff anyway.
Yeah, like they wrote. I think it's a great way to do it.
Romance, you should just do it.
They wrote all the characters as gender neutral, then cast them depending on who they thought would be great as the actors. I really like that idea.
I bet Ridley was a guy in the original, to be honest.
I don't know. I know Sigourney Weaver went in. She was actually auditioning to play Lambert. And the actress who auditioned to play Lambert was auditioning to play Ripley, but they swapped them around because they thought they'd be better that way.
Yeah,
and they were.
Yeah.
Because I mean, all the actors are great, you know.
Right. Amadeus, he won Best Picture in 1984, and it's amazing. It's a really good portrayal. It's 3 hours long. Does feel it at points, but it's got great performances. It's a really clever commentary. There's a scene in this. You know how it's English language, but it's set in Austria.
Yeah.
And there's this thing. They go on about a play and what language it should be in. And it's like, no, it should be in Italian. No, German. What does it matter? What was the line? What does it matter what language it's in? And it's a really clever meta commentary.
Yeah, the joke is old.
They just thought it will be easier to make it English language. And it's just like, don't care what the language is. It's really clever.
That is pretty clever, actually. I like that.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that Mozart is just unlucky. And it's like there's this guy who wants to be really gifted, but Mozart's a genius, but he's a complete twat. And that it's just a commentary on how life is stupid and dumb.
Yeah, life is unfair and a dick.
Exactly, and it's great. American Beauty won Best Picture in 1999, or is it 2000? Actually, I think it was 2000.
I have no idea.
It came out in 99, so it'll be in 2000. Yeah, it's a great commentary on lots of commentaries here. Probably a commentary on here as well.
Aren't all the great commentaries of something?
Oh yeah. It's a great commentary on like just normality and breaking it. It's like this suburban family, and it's slowly kind of deconstruct the nuclear family archetype, which I loathe. 50s. I loathe that.
What's that film, Suburbicon? Matt Damon. I've seen a couple of trailers of that, and that looks really interesting. It's like a dark comedy set in 50s suburban America. And that looks really... That, again, sort of subverts and deconstructs the whole idea.
Alright.
I really like that.
Black Dynamite!
Dynamite! Yeah, watch it. It's great. It is...
I did that shit before I came in the room!
Imagine every bad 70s action film you've ever watched, then combine them together. You have Black Dynamite. It is beautiful. I think... It's
bad on purpose.
Yeah, it's deliberately rubbish and stupid.
But it's not. It doesn't seem cynical against those films. It loves.
Yeah,
them at
it's
the
a
same
love letter to those kind of films, and I think the best example of this is the fact that the climax is a kung fu nunchucks battle in the White House with Richard Nixon, or to call him by his true name, Tricky Dicky.
Tricky Dicky. Does he call him that?
No, yeah, it's like Tricky Dicky. I knew you were behind this. Because basically every film from the 70s had Richard Nixon in it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can't recommend it enough.
And there's so many like errors, and it's
deliberate continuity errors.
Well made.
And the bit where they like work out what the real plan is through like Greek mythology references,
which it's so odd and with these overly confusing and outrageous plots, and the terrible green screen as well.
Yeah, deliberate bad green screen. And Kung Fu Island of Kung Fu Revenge.
Oh yeah. Black Swan. You know the story of the White Swan and everything?
Yeah, like the ballet.
Yeah, and then commit suicide at the end, because this is essentially that, but about a play where they perform it. It's that, but modernised. Essentially that. It's really good.
I've always heard it was good, never watched it.
You know films where people are going insane, like psychological
Yeah.
stuff? This is one of them. I was about to say it won Best Picture. Again, Best Picture in 20... No, King's Speech did, which I do own. There it is. It's there. That's great.
We might get to that eventually.
2010 was a great year for Best Picture nominees. Social Network as well was amazing.
Yeah,
I need to buy that on DVD. It's one of my favourite films. Crank!
Every Jason Statham movie just dilate. What's the term? It's pure Jason Statham movie, and it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's absurd, it's dumb, it's over the top, and
that's the point.
It's super. I mean, the plot is literally about a guy who's injected with a drug that means that his heart will stop if he can't keep the adrenaline pumping.
Which I saw that plot on IMDb, and I'm like, I need to watch this now.
I mean, yeah, it's
because that's the type of thing that keeps a plot going so fast.
Yeah, an imminent threat. He's literally got to be doing something really intense. I did nothing that night except
stare in awe at the hour and 30 minutes. Cube, a film. It's one of the films I've thought about the most ever, probably.
Yeah, really good horror.
Because this is a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, it's a true nightmare scenario. Trapped with no escape.
I watched the other two films afterwards, which, as a whole, it's a really weird, unique experience.
I imagine.
It builds as the fourth one shits on the original, but it's still. I still love all of it.
I mean, if you haven't watched Cube, first watch it. It's great.
Really good.
I mean, just it's the idea. You're trapped and you've got to rely on those around you to get out.
I'd probably have to look at all of my favourite films together, but I think this is probably my favourite independent film.
I don't know. I think it's brilliant. What is it? Is it horror or
It's psychological.
Psychological
Thriller.
horror, yeah.
Yeah.
Thriller horror. Kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah. It's the same as that. I do love psychological horror. I think everyone loves psychological horror. People say
people certainly
people
appreciate
say,
it.
oh, it's a niche. Not many people like it. Everyone loves psychological
Everyone can
horror.
appreciate but good psychological horror.
Donnie Darko, it's a film where it's got a very simple plot, but explains it in the most weird and unconventional way possible.
I mean, Donnie Darko is simultaneously... I love that film. It's really funny and clever.
Oh,
but
it's a great
time,
story, but underneath that's an even better story.
It's funny and clever and bizarrely confusing. There's nothing like it. I would watch it.
Oh, yeah.
And God, is it funny.
Yeah. Most of these I've shown you.
Yeah, because they're great. It really earns the title of black comedy.
Yeah.
What's next?
The Doors, which is...
Does it involve doors?
It's about the band The Doors, which I have like a little thing up there,
yeah,
and an album here, which is the same picture. They're great. It gets into the mind of like the front man, Jim Morrison, is like, you know, the 27 Club.
Yes.
He's one of them, and you know, people who died at 27. Anton Yelchin technically is, because he was in a band when he was younger, and he died at 27. He's technically in that.
Oh, and I had to remind me that Anton Yelchin's dead.
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, but
God,
because he got into really weird stuff. It's like he just like really insane poetry and everything.
Well, I think honestly, if you took when the Doors were 70s, weren't they?
60s into 70s.
60s, 70s. Because honestly, being a music star in the 70s was probably one of the most deadly occupations of the time.
Oh yeah, he let's just say revealed himself in a concert in like 69 in Miami. They actually show it as well.
I mean, honestly, if you were a musician in those days, you'd probably end up lying dead in a bathtub full of cocaine and hookers before you were 30.
Well, it's psychedelic rock.
Or your helicopter would crash into a swimming pool or something.
I feel like that's a true story.
Well, I think a couple of dozen have died from swimming pools and about half a dozen from helicopter and plane crashes.
Probably.
So, you know, maybe that was a combined incident.
Yeah.
A helicopter, drugged, you know, just high off, just absolutely high off your arse in a helicopter full of hookers, and you crash into a swimming pool.
That's the way everyone
whilst
wants
having
to
a wank. I mean, talk about a way to go out.
Well, not a wank, being wanked. Anyway,
The Double.
have you heard of Richard Ayoade?
Yeah, of course I've heard of Richard Ayoade.
He directed it.
Oh.
And it's weird. It's just really weird,
but in a good way.
It's got this incredibly kind of quirky style, which I love.
Yeah, I need to check it out.
Yeah, it's acquired taste though. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the original series, is great.
Yeah, brilliant books. I'm sure brilliant TV series.
I have all 5 in this big £30 hardback, which I paid for full price.
All 5, by the way.
5, not 6.
No, I mean, I'm sure Evan Colfer is a very good author, but it doesn't count.
He's not canon. It's not canon.
Yeah, that will be officially considered
Hot
canon.
Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz is Hot Fuzz, and if you haven't watched it, watch Hot Fuzz.
You can find it in any charity shop ever. For
50p,
which is weird.
It's criminal, but it's also a good thing because it means you can get it really cheap and watch it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just one of those. I think I'm gonna guess it's one of the best. One of the best selling DVDs.
I don't know.
I honestly think it is.
Actually, that doesn't seem so unlikely, really.
No, definitely like
resale
15 rated.
Resale probably.
Yeah. Inception.
It's Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer, and it will blow your fucking mind. And
it's best
probably
to
make you
just
question
watch
reality.
It, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, just go and watch it quickly.
Just Johnny English. This is my nostalgia.
Mainly nostalgia. He knows no fear. He knows no danger. He knows nothing.
Yeah, you've seen Johnny English, haven't you?
I have seen Johnny English. It's great.
It's still really funny.
God, Rowan Atkinson is good.
I still remember the score off by heart. I watched it so many times when I was younger. It's still a good film as well.
It'll be a crime against nature when Rowan Atkinson eventually dies.
Did you hear about that fake rumour that he died?
There's been a couple of fake Rowan Atkinson deaths where someone started the rumour.
I was in Italy and my dad said, "Oh, Rowan Atkinson's died." And I was like, what? It's like, oh, no, never mind.
It was a hoax. And both the times Rowan Atkinson's gone on Twitter and basically been like, what? I'm not dead.
Alright, Lord of the Rings, the motion picture trilogy, and a separate DVD for Return of the King for some reason. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they're both great.
Oh, yeah. It won Best Picture. They all got nominated.
But only one won.
The best one won.
Yes. Two Towers is a bit boring, to be honest. Then
It
again,
is a bit boring.
second in a trilogy syndrome, so they can't really help it.
Yeah, it's
Then
kind of...
then
No,
again-
it's not beginning, but it's not the ending either.
Then again, second in a trilogy doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I mean, look at Back to the Future 2 and Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah.
They're both great. Probably the best of their trilogies.
The Matrix,
Yeah, again, go and watch it.
it's great.
Slick, clever, sci-fi action, brilliantly executed, and a pop culture icon.
I'm trying to think. No, Clockwork Orange is my 4th favourite film. This is my 5th.
Right then.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Misfits.
Find it, watch it, enjoy it.
It's brilliant.
A forgotten gem, I think.
Yeah, I've continually seen Series 1 for 50p and everywhere.
Exactly. So you can find it and you can buy it, and believe me, you'll want to.
To be fair, I don't think calling it cheap does it a disservice, because it is cheap. And they acknowledge it. That's why it really downplays the superhero thing. Because it's the joke.
That's kind of the joke. You know, it's basically a bunch of people doing community service on a council estate get given superpowers. And funnily enough, yeah, you can imagine what happens afterwards.
It's just they're really crap at it.
Yeah, they're all crap at being heroes, and they're very much... It's the way they take a very realistic look at what would happen if you had superpowers.
Yeah, and it's mainly because of the budget. It's obvious, but they hide it so well.
Yeah.
The Mist, which you definitely know the ending to. I know you know the ending to it. But
I probably do,
you
but
just
I can't
match it
remember
up.
Everyone knows the ending to The Mist.
It's everything like combined into one that I want a film to be. It's frustrating, it's emotional, it's tense, and it actually has good writing and characters.
Plus, Stephen King, good writing and characters. Crazy.
Well,
we
to be fair,
we shouldn't be so judgmental, yeah, because It remake, as you probably know if you watch our review, has its flaws, but the writing and characters aren't one of them. I really like.
The horror.
Yeah, the horror is bad, but with that film, that was a case where I was actually kind of sad that it ended because I wanted to spend more time with the characters, and that doesn't happen to me very often.
Shall I go through all of Red Dwarf?
Do you want to just give a general summary?
I'm just gonna get all of Red Dwarf.
Yeah, cover all of Red Dwarf.
Alright, you talk while I'm just...
He's getting the DVDs out.
Alright,
we need to put them in order.
I don't need to
make the little thing on the side spell out Red Dwarf.
Alright. Series 1, 2, 4 are amazing. Series 5 is one of the best series of television ever.
Yeah, and that's a pretty glowing.
The Inquisitors are one of the best episodes, one of the best pieces of media ever. Yeah, so the Inquisitor, one of the best things ever.
Seamless transition.
Yes, and then
we were actually gone for 10 minutes there, but you didn't notice because my editing skills are superior.
It might be a really crappy edit.
It probably will be a really crappy edit. My editing skills are by no means superior.
Yeah. Let's go through the series. Series 3 is really good. It's a weird change of status quo because the first two series are really lonely and kind of depressing.
No, first two series are like loneliness of being stuck in space.
Third one's really optimistic. They really hit their peak Series 5. Series 6, it's still really good,
but dropping a bit.
Series 7, Rimmer not being in... He's only in 2 episodes.
What? That's dumb.
It kind of... I don't know. He's... The best Red Dwarf joke ever is in Blue. You know, the Rimmer experience.
Oh,
that's in that. That's amazing.
This is series.
Oh, and Series 8 is not actually that bad. It's a weird change of status quo, but it's not that bad.
Good. That's 2 weird changes of status quo.
Yeah.
What is it? What do people have against that band?
Red Dwarf is very good at changing up status quo and making it interesting.
But not making it bad.
No, it's got a very good change.
I gotta admit, sometimes I do hate it when people change the status quo for the sake of the status quo.
Like Misfits, it's natural progression. I get that, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
Sometimes the status quo is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's entertaining and interesting. You don't really want to change it.
I don't know. Maybe if I watch more Misfits, it might get really good. Although I have read what happens. So.
Oh, you've spoiled it for yourself.
Back to Earth.
Special.
First part's the worst Red Dwarf episode ever.
Jesus.
Second one's pretty good. Third one's one of my favourites.
This is some really inconsistent quality.
It gets better. But I think the third one's really meta. And it's them... They're at the typewriter where they type out the episode of Red Dwarf. They're actually at the typewriter. And in the second one, they travel to actual Earth, where they see all the promotional material for the return of Red Dwarf. And it's great.
Okay, I like that. That's smart.
And they have to read like the plot synopsis for the next episode in the magazine. It's really clever.
Now that is meta. Meta done right.
Yeah, so they have to track down the creator to see how long they have to live. So they go to the typewriter, they start typing it out, trying to change it, but they can't. And it's a really good goodbye. Because this is, like, chronologically, this is the last Red Dwarf. This is actually where they all die. Like, it's finished.
Yeah,
it finishes at the end of Back to Earth. Then it travels, like...
Then they put it on Dave and made 2 more series.
Yeah.
Possibly 3 more. They've done series 11 now, too.
Lemons on this is one where they meet Jesus.
Alright.
And it goes by Rimmer's religion, where Judas was actually put on the cross just to save Jesus' life. Which is... It turns out was true. It's one of my favourite episodes as well. And I haven't watched all of Series 11, actually.
Any good?
I haven't watched all of it. I've watched half.
Of what you've seen, what do you think, though?
I remember enjoying it.
It's not the same show, though, is it?
Wow, it's the only 15 strong sex references. All the others are 12 and PG for Back to Earth.
Oh, interesting.
Considering Back to Earth are mostly CGI, the Red Dwarf. Jesus Christ.
Wait, they CGI'd the Red Dwarf?
Pretty much all of it.
A ship that has been traditionally...
most of it, yeah.
Always portrayed through excellent model work.
Yeah. Heresy! Yeah.
That's oh no. Like, one of the reasons Red Dwarf is so good is the great model work. Like, I've always had enormous respect. It's Mike Tucker, I think, who worked on it as well. And I've always had enormous
he worked
respect
on a
for
lot
him.
of classic Doctor Who.
Yeah, he did loads of classic Who. I've always had enormous respect for that guy. So.
I do now. I don't like his books that much because he always has this kind of an interesting idea, but I don't think it goes anywhere. I enjoy.
Yeah, I enjoy his books. Legal Alien is great.
I think he's made a bad book, but
yeah. And I always like Nightmare of Black Island.
I need to rewatch all of Red Dwarf 11 before the new series, which is in October next month.
That's Red Dwarf 12.
Yeah. So I need to. It's only 3 hours long for the whole thing.
No,
so as long as the It mini series, which we could watch later. You know, I feel like watching it later, see how it compares. Maybe just the first half because.
Yeah. I don't know whether it'd be the same. I don't know. Anyway, we should keep moving.
Alright. It could be as long as we want, honestly. Yeah, I need to rewatch all of it. Well, first half. I do remember enjoying it though.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me trying to enjoy it because I love Red Dwarf so much.
Yeah, you want to enjoy it. Yeah. And even
it's
if
like,
it's crap, you never quite
I felt like half the time with the new It, I wanted to hate it. Which I don't like it when I do, but it's just...
It's like you have that instinct and you can't...
But I still think about it. I think I have a reasoning why I don't like it. I just felt...
I went into the new It with pretty much an open mind and was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised. I put the wrong things on the one side.
It was actually better than I was expecting.
So, I was expecting it to be awful. It wasn't that. It's a mixed bag, definitely.
It does some stuff so well, but fails on so many levels.
Scott Pilgrim.
Brilliant.
This is the world I want to live in one day.
Yeah. It is not only a really fun Edgar Wright comedy film in a world where video game logic applies, it's also an actually pretty clever commentary on interpersonal relationships
and hipsters.
Yeah. You know, highly
if you're a hipster, you can't not love Scott Pilgrim. I think that's one of the rules.
Oh god, yeah. But yeah, it's actually a really touching commentary on the nature of relationships.
Also, when I get Baby Driver, I'm going to buy it £10. I don't care if it's cheaper the next day. I'm buying it full £10.
As I think they used to say,
it's going.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, I'll put it on this shelf.
It will go on the special shelf.
Yeah, and
on the subject of Edgar Wright,
Shaun of the Dead. I've always found it funny how those two were back to back.
It's appropriate. Shaun of the Dead is great. Go and watch it.
It's great. It's I never feel like I ever want to rewatch Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, but when I do rewatch them, I'm always happy.
Yeah, you're glad you did it, and with good reason because they're both great films.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead is it's fun. It's just good.
Shawshank Redemption.
Morgan Freeman.
Stephen King.
Sexy
Morgan Freeman.
Just I would listen to Morgan Freeman read out his tax returns. His voice is just so nice.
The thing that won no Oscars, but 7 nominations.
Seriously, Shawshank Redemption didn't win an Oscar.
No, it's weird because there were apparently loads of great films that year that, like, Forrest Gump beats the Best Picture, which I probably should buy and put on my favourite shelf at some point.
I mean,
Shawshank Redemption.
I've never watched it. Heard it's a classic. IMDb seems to think so.
#1 film on IMDb. To be fair, it is great.
The real question is, why isn't it I Am Here now?
Now. I am here. Now.
Or any need. No, Fateful Findings.
I can't believe you committed suicide.
Oh, fucking brain. Okay, so Airplane was a parody of Ed Astor movies. Spaceballs is Star Wars, and it's beautiful.
I always think they're made by the same people because it feels like
Spaceballs and Star Wars. No, Spaceballs and Airplane feel very similar, and I'd swear there were some of the same people involved in the production.
They probably were.
They both have that same thing of tongue-in-cheek, yet acting completely serious about it. Like, that's why Airplane works so well. All the jokes are delivered in completely deadpan. Like, everyone's taking it completely seriously.
It was Bill Paxton who died, wasn't it?
Yes, I want to say.
Because it's Bill Pullman. I thought he was Bill Paxton for a second. That would have been...
Yes, Spaceballs. I just love the spaceship. We break for no one. It's so much work.
It's so better than any Star Wars film for me. Because it's such a clever commentary on them.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of clever commentaries here.
Well, that's why they're good, because they're clever.
Yeah.
And their commentaries, be they social or on the media, are good.
Submarine by Richie Iannodi as well.
About a submarine or something?
No, it's just...
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called something. I don't know. The book was called that. But it's great. It is my favourite film, to be honest. It's my favourite film. Not the best one I've seen, my favourite.
Okay, not what you consider objectively the best, but your personal favourite, yeah.
Yeah, my personal favourite. It's the one I just feel happy and depressed at the same time every time I watch it.
Alright.
Because I was really, really depressed during that Christmas holidays in 2016. That was when I first watched it. That was the source of that.
It's like, I'll make myself depressed. I don't know, I'll watch this. 2 hours later. Well, that fucking helped.
But I kind of...
My moment like that was when I read 1984. Like, I was
My mum still has that somewhere. She's never give it back. I need to finish
I was on holiday over summer in Sorrento in Italy. And it was this beautiful sunny day. And I just read
1984!
And I was sitting there reading it. And I just got to the last line. And it was just sort of closing the book. And if you don't know, the last line is, he knew it now. He loved Big Brother.
Yeah, I thought so.
And I just closed the book, put it down, and was like...
Just staring at the sun.
Go for a walk. Like, I for the next day, all I could think of was that. It's my favourite book of all time, but God, is it depressing. Of course, that's also the good thing about it, because once you've read 1984, the only way is up. You can't get any more depressed after reading that book.
What else? I scream but have no mouth.
I have no mouth and I'm a scream. Oh yeah, you.
Is that more depressing? I'm guessing it will.
It's horribly depressing.
I think Cube is the most depressing thing.
Yeah, Cube has a really depressing film. The Descent has a pretty depressing ending.
Oh yeah,
but the sequel fucks it up.
But I think, how crushed were you on a scale of 1 to 10 with that?
Which
Descent? The ending.
About a 9. That was seriously.
I think it's because I already knew it.
Knowing it was coming to me was like, it's like, oh, she's actually gonna. Oh God!
I hate myself for knowing the ending.
Yeah, I know. There are a bunch of films. I know the twist at the end of Fight Club and The Usual Suspects. I haven't watched either of them, and I feel really bad for doing that.
Speaking of The Usual Suspects.
Oh yeah, that's up after this.
Fight Club should be on here as well, but I haven't got the DVD.
Oh, I agree. There's a great video.
It is on Netflix. You need to watch it.
If it's on Netflix, yeah, fuck yeah. There's this great video.
It doesn't play out how you think it does as well, which is great.
I believe that. There's a great video on YouTube. It says the Yahtzee co-star on Gary Morton in Let's Drown Out, where they play the Fight Club fighting game from 2002.
Which kind of ruins the point.
It completely misses the point of the movie, and it's absolutely awful, but in a beautiful way.
Train Spotting. We need to watch this.
No, I think there's only one thing we can say to this.
You do.
This lassie's been glassed, and none of you cunts is getting out of here till we find the cunt who did it. And who the fuck are you?
Ah! Kicks him in the balls.
He just kicks him in the balls and starts a bar fight.
It's like, what cunt? What did it?
What cunt? What did it?
Oh, that's
Begbie is the basis of my angry Glaswegian impression.
You know, that's one of my favourite scenes ever. It's so good. The editing's great as well.
Yeah. There's so much to love about Trainspotting.
Yeah, and you need to watch it.
I know. And Spud's job interview. I've seen that. That's great.
Yeah. The editing's so good. It's like I've seen the frenetic direction of it all.
Yeah, that's.
The film's kind of this. The sequel's kind of this kind of calm retrospect on life.
Yeah,
which is really weird.
Well, I think it seems kind of appropriate.
It's a bit underwhelming,
but come on, it's a sequel that came 20 years later. It not being crap is all we can ask for. Unlike Independence Day Resurgence. Fuck Independence Day Resurgence.
Kevin Spacey is one of the best actors alive.
Yes. As someone said, Kevin Spacey is great at playing the smartest guy in the movie.
Yeah.
You know he's in that new film with...
He probably is.
The greatest of time. You know he is in that new film, what's it called?
Baby Driver?
No. That new one that's about to come out was Ridley Scott. About all the money in the world. About the what's it about? It's Kevin Spacey and he's playing what are they called?
Stockbrokers?
Yeah, it's basically Kevin Spacey playing, God, what is his name? David Getty. The it's the
richest guy in the world.
The richest man in the world, yeah. And it's played by Kevin Spacey, and it's basically about how his grandson gets kidnapped, and how is like
this fictional?
I'm not entirely sure.
I'm guessing it's partially fictional.
Partially fictional, probably.
Real.
But it's like how his grandson gets kidnapped, and they demand $17 million from him. And
but he's so determined not to give it because he wants to be the richest guy in the world.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
if he loses that, he won't be.
Yeah, I think it's something like, but basically like that. You only see Kevin Spacey right at the end of the trailer, and it just looks really good.
Oh, I need to watch that now.
It's good. I think it's coming out sometime in autumn. I don't know.
But it is. It's autumn, isn't it?
Later autumn, you know.
Like November.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be early 2018. I just saw the trailer this morning on a YouTube video.
Oh, let me guess. It's going to be an Oscar film, isn't it?
Probably.
It's going to be one of those which isn't an Oscar film, but it just
by coincidence turns into an Oscar film.
Yeah,
it wasn't deliberate.
He'll get nominated either way.
He deserves it. It's Ridley Scott directing a movie with Kevin Spacey in it. What the fuck do you expect?
He won for The Usual Suspects and American Beauty, both of which he did deserve. His only 2 Oscars. Only 2. He needs more.
Kevin Spacey has 2 Oscars. This is a crime against humanity.
I legitimately think Simon Pegg should have got one for The World's End.
Simon Pegg deserves so many Oscars.
Yeah. That Usual Suspects is great.
Right, what's next?
Whiplash! Oh, you need to watch this.
I have not watched Whiplash. Oh, the DVD just fell over. I need to, yes.
I think anyone who's seen Whiplash knows just
if you're out there and you have seen Whiplash, then you know what he's talking about. I don't.
Christ, it's so good.
Yeah, it certainly looks it.
I'm going through these and saying, "Oh, that's so good. I need to rewatch." I'm gonna one day. I'm just gonna go through all of these.
Has this filled you with a massive urge to rewatch all these films?
Oh yeah.
I watched Inception recently, quite recently with my dad, and that was really good. Rewatched it, yeah. Well, he hadn't watched it because it was shortly after I watched Dunkirk with him, and he absolutely loves that film.
Oh, you went to see it with him?
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. So
yeah,
and naturally I was like, well, I'm going to take a chance to show you some more Christopher Nolan.
I really want to see that on the big TV once I finally get a DVD player.
Inception or Dunkirk or both?
Both, probably,
yeah,
preferably. Yeah.
I really wish I had a chance to see Inception in the cinema.
Have you seen Memento?
I've not seen Memento. I've been meaning to watch it.
Memento's amazing.
From what I've heard, it does require about 5 viewings to understand.
No, I think I got it. It was told in a way that way was appropriate. I feel like any other film would have just done it for sake of artsy, but no, it was actually
it's actually kind of like the way Dunkirk tells its story with all the 3 plot threads taking place over different courses of time and intersecting in their own ways.
I don't see.
You see, I like the way that works in Dunkirk.
I liked it.
It really adds to that.
Entirely sure it was.
I was sold on it. It really adds to that constant, combined with Hans Zimmer's brilliant soundtrack. It really adds to this constant feeling of urgency. Plus,
when I saw War of the Planet of the Apes, I could legitimately feel vibrations from the other room, and I thought, that's Dunkirk, isn't it? Because I actually could, and it's like, yeah, that's Dunkirk.
It's just like, that sounds like fighter planes, shellings.
No, I just felt it, and I knew it was Dunkirk.
Yeah,
Dunkirk. Sound design's incredible,
beautiful. And again,
that should definitely win.
Talking to my dad with it, he is a huge history buff, and whenever he watches a historical film, he's always out for historical inaccuracies. And
I'm guessing it was 100%.
Yeah, it was almost the only one he could come up with was, and this is it, because obviously the Spitfires are using the Mark 1s and 2s because it's appropriate to the time.
Really?
But the problem is there was only one, I think, one Mark II that still flies. Obviously they use that, but they also had to use 2 Mark V Spitfires which have cannons on the wing. But they actually airbrushed out the cannons, so the only thing that tells you they're Mark V's is a little hump for where the ammo would be. That is the only historical inaccuracy he could find, and he actively searches for them.
Wow,
that is a credit to how good Dunkirk is.
That should win like all the production designs, because it just. Oh, I have Interstellar. Why is that not on here? Why is that not on my? Interstellar's amazing.
Yeah, while we are sucking off Christopher Nolan, I need to watch Interstellar. It looks great.
Oh, you should. It's really long, so I recommend you
set aside an afternoon for it or something.
Yeah, or if not, just multitask to it if you need to. Yeah. Multitask at certain parts.
No, I do
certain parts. It is a bit long.
It's one I've been meaning for ages to get to be able to get a compressible second monitor from a computer, because I like to multitask, but I don't really like having to look from one thing. So having them both in front of me would be fun. Anyway, oh wow, we finished the first shelf. Almost.
Let's just talk about Interstellar. Interstellar is visually one of the best films I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's really.
I saw this in cinemas, which is great.
God, you must be lucky, because everything I've seen about that shows the visuals are key to the experience.
I told my dad, I need to see this in cinemas. I need to, and I did, and it was a great experience.
Yeah,
it's an experience. That's what Christopher Nolan films are.
Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer are like.
You know
Spielberg
what?
And
while I'm at it, let me dig out the Dark Knight trilogy.
Team-up.
I'll dig up.
Dark Knight is there.
Dark Knight Rises here. Batman Begins there.
Right.
We were talking about them earlier, so I knew where they all were.
Yes, and God, well, what's to say about? Shall we go through them individually?
Let's go front to back. Batman Begins.
One of the best. Probably the best superhero origin film.
I think this is my favourite out of the Dark Knight trilogy. But the best one is the Dark Knight, but it's my favourite. I think it's the shortest as well.
Batman Begins has a bit of a different...
Yeah, I guarantee it's short. Yeah, it's short. They just get longer.
Has a bit of a Batman Begins has a very different feel to the other two. It still feels in the same universe, but it's something slightly different. Like they haven't quite found their footing yet. However, Liam Neeson
it's a lot kind of like
it's more comic-y. It's a bit closer to the.
It's a lot more. It's like the colour is a lot more orange.
Yeah, and also
the other two are kind of more steely blue,
stark and steely blue. But most importantly, I think the thing is, it's a lot closer to the comic book depiction of Gotham than the version that we see in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Because that is
the goth
Yeah, it's a lot of Gothic architecture, but in those two, it's more of a modern steel and glass city. But yeah, Batman Begins probably the best because of its use of the Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah.
Who is a great villain.
He's a great villain.
But again, this is why Batman movies work, because all of his villains reflect some element of himself.
Yeah.
Like the Scarecrow is like his use of fear. Two-Face is his dual identity. Batman has the best villains. It's a simple
The Joker's just pretty much his...
Joker is the exact opposite. He represents order, the Joker represents chaos.
Yeah.
But,
and they kind of
authority versus anarchy.
They definitely skate the line.
Yeah, and they both... Yeah. Right, what's next?
Let's Dark Knight.
Okay, on the subject of...
I'm just stretching my legs because...
Yeah, give them a stretch.
I'm going to sit on the chair while I do it. Go on.
Yeah, you want to bring the chair up, actually?
Right, okay, Dark Knight.
Well, it's the best superhero film ever, what can I say? That's just a fact. Best comic book villain ever. Best...
Yeah, definitely.
Best...
I don't know why I kind of considered it there.
Yeah, best Commissioner Gordon, too.
Oh, yeah.
Gary
J.K. Simmons looks really good.
Yeah. Gary Oldman, though, he is just definitive.
I mean, Justice League looks like a train wreck.
Justice League looks like a train wreck.
But, to be fair, I will give it some lenience because Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide through production.
That must have... Yeah, Joss Whedon. And that was the thing, though. Okay, so Zack Snyder, his daughter committed suicide, is really, really awful, and my sympathies go out to him. So he has to quit, obviously. Yeah. But then they replace him with Joss Whedon.
Which is not
fucking Joss. I mean, don't get me wrong. Joss Whedon isn't a bad director, but like he's
nowhere near.
His kind of ideas of tone are completely different.
They're trying to go for an Avengers tone. That's why they hired him.
Yeah. Well, what I have heard though is that Whedon, because obviously there are only a few weeks left, and Whedon has said he's keeping it. He's shooting it as Zack Snyder would have wanted to, because he doesn't want to get.
I'm doing it as he wanted. I'm making it like The Godfather.
No, what is
like
it?
Batman versus Superman, which is awful.
No, it's just like the Kylo Ren talking to Darth Vader's helmet. It's Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder.
I will finish what you've started.
I'll finish what you started. Yeah, but I mean,
that is probably what he said.
I mean, Joss Whedon is Joss Whedon's and Zack Snyder's styles could not be more different.
Zack Snyles.
That's why Alien Resurrection is just
Zack
bizarre.
Snyles? Zack Styles?
Their
style.
Their styles.
I thought you called Zack Snyder Zack Styles.
No, but I mean, that's also why Alien Resurrection is just so weird, because it feels like a Joss Whedon film that happens to have the aliens in it.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's a low point for him. I mean, people are just going to say, "Oh, but he did Alien Resurrection. He's grown as a writer. That was one of his first things."
Alien Resurrection is a film.
I think I own it somewhere. I don't think it's on the shelf.
Nothing. It's just. It's fun. It's enjoyable, but
I've got
not in.
random DVDs back here. So.
I
don't.
It's enjoyable, but not in like quality. It's enjoyable and more so bad it's good kind of deal. I mean, like the bit where the guy uses a chest burster coming out of him to kill another dude by holding his head to his chest. It does that. It's just.
It's great. I need to watch it.
It's
Dark Knight.
What can be said? It is amazing if you have not watched it. As I have said many times throughout this video, fucking watch it.
Not the best comic book film ever. Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. I would say that's best comic book film in traditional, like what you'd refer to as
best
a comic book film. Yes. Scott Pilgrim is an adaptation of a comic, and it is great. But Scott Pilgrim isn't particularly comic booky. You know what I mean?
It is very comic booky.
Well, yeah.
It's like a weird combination of comic book and video game.
Yes, and it's beautiful.
It is.
But yeah, Dark Knight is best superhero film.
Dark Knight Rises.
Really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Also,
bit long. I do think it's a bit long.
It's a bit. Yeah.
It is the longest. It's an hour, 2 hours 40.
Yeah, it's very long, but Catwoman is great. I love Ben Mendelsohn. Or as I like to call him.
Oh, is he in that?
Yeah, he's like Taggart, the businessman who works with Bane and then gets his neck snapped. Do you feel in control?
Are you the only one who can deactivate this bomb?
No, my favourite is like there's a version
and just snaps his neck.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
I love that stadium scene, especially the fact that like when Bane's walking up and he just
I love how they all run away from the ground opening up.
I love that, like there's a guy in the front with the ball and he's just running and then he turns behind him and is like, what the fuck?
What's this? Is this about the
he
game?
He didn't actually notice and then he turns around and is like, oh shit.
I knew we were losing viewers, but I didn't think they'd stayed up this much.
Yeah, but it's like when Bane is climbing up and he just mutters to himself, what a lovely voice. Like, that wasn't scripted, that was just Tom Hardy doing it, and it worked. But I mean, yeah, Ben Mendelsohn's great. Obviously, Tom Hardy is amazing as Bane, and Bane...
He still...
It is...
doesn't feel like Tom Hardy, which is great. He's a great actor.
Tom Hardy is one of the best actors for not making you realise it's Tom Hardy.
Have you heard of Bronson? It's a film... Have you heard of Charles Bronson?
Yes, the name rings a bell.
He was a guy who fought his way through loads of prisons. He's the world's most violent prisoner in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
He played him in that.
Oh.
He's unrecognisable. I only watched the first half, but he's unrecognisable in that.
Oh, okay. I'll have to find it.
You can see he really built himself for the role.
Yeah.
Well, shall we go to the World's End?
I just have one last thing to say about Dark Knight Rises. A couple of things. Obviously, Tom Hardy is only actually like 5'10", so they had to, and obviously Bane is this huge imposing slab of muscles. So there are a couple of scenes where they actually had to sort of make... Yeah, they had to make...
Or do they just make him stand on the cardboard box?
I think they just made him stand on the cardboard box in one scene.
Or to strangle people.
Yes. But like... And there's just sort of the scene when he's about to kill Tiger and his hand looks weirdly small for how tall he is. But no, my favourite version of that is... it's how... it's Rogue One, how it should have ended. And when...
I don't watch how it ended.
I used to. I've only watched, but I only watched a couple. But that was one of them, and it's.
I just don't find them fun anymore.
Yeah, they lost a bit of the mojo.
Like
a bit less insightful.
Like Watch Mojo.
Watch Mojo
never had mojo. Well, they kind of did. Some of their stuff's alright.
They made a recent video which I can totally get behind, which was top 10 best 0 punctuation videos. But that's getting real. That's kind of obscure, really.
They did PewDiePie videos. I'm thinking, what PewDiePie videos are on a top 10 list?
I mean, 0 punctuation is a series worthy of
having
a top 10
list. Do they watch all? How do they get those results?
Probably through survey and popular opinion. I mean, there are 5...
Oh, no, they do surveys on that channel.
Yeah, there are literally 500 plus... 510 0 punctuation videos, each of which is about 5 minutes long. But, when you've watched... I think I've watched almost all of them, and there are definitely some classics. Search Red Dead Redemption and the Duke Nukem Forever review, where he does... But when it was a time when Duke Nukem Forever would look like it was never going to come out, so he did a joke review, where he basically describes what you think a game that would have took 12 years to make would be like.
It's like Half-Life 3
it's like
game trailers.
Yeah, it's just the best thing you could
ever
imagine.
Oh, I love that one. Half-Life 3 game trailer.
It's like, wait a minute, see this? The water gods have 4 fingers. Half-Life 4 confirmed. And the I love when they brought in Batman, but I feel him being as a love interest for the Vortigods didn't actually feel very forced. But no, there's like the Rogue One how it should have ended. It's like when Director Krennic talks to Vader, instead of don't choke on your aspirations, director, it's do you feel in control? But I gave you everything you asked for. I built you a battle station, and that gives you power over me. I just love that. That cracked me up. Ben Mendelsohn just getting choked/killed by really big imposing dudes.
Well done.
Yeah, it's great.
My favourite Edgar Wright film. It's my second favourite film ever. Scott Pilgrim's my third.
You know, something tells me Jude has a great appreciation of Edgar Wright.
I do, yeah.
Just a hunch.
He's the best director ever. Don't you think?
No, I've got to admit, I can't think of a bad film he's done. So...
Well, he's done 5. They're all like 9s and above. Well,
5.
All but Baby Driver are 10s.
Yeah, and Baby Driver. The thing with
Baby Driver is like it gets so close to a 10 sometimes.
Baby Driver. The thing is, it wasn't quite. Baby Driver is less comedy than his other 4, and as a consequence, it's not quite what I expected.
To the extent where it's not classified as a comedy.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's very funny, but it's not quite comedy. It's a bit more of a focus on drama or crime.
Which I do like, but
yeah. He takes it in a different direction, but it wasn't what I was expecting, so it kind of put me a bit off when I watched it, but it's still great. It's really fun.
I felt a bit disappointed, but the more I think about it, the more, it is. It's great.
God, Edgar Wright is one of those like Christopher Nolan is one of those guys where I'm just waiting to see what he'll do next.
Oh yeah, I need to. God, I need to watch the commentaries.
Oh yeah, the director's commentary are always really interesting.
I tend not to watch them because I feel like, do I really want to? I know Quentin Tarantino did one for Edgar Wright with Hot Fuzz. They did commentary on it.
Oh, that would be fun.
They did. I bet it's on here.
I'll take a look. I think I always think commentary works well in games because at least the way I know the way Valve does it. If, for example, in Portal, each test chamber you go into, there'll be a little spot where if you walk over to it and press the button, like there's a little the developers will talk about how they designed that level. So the commentary isn't constantly going on, and you can avoid it if you want to, or you can sort of. I don't know. I think it works. I always like that approach.
Yeah, World's End is amazing. You notice how all I did comment whilst watching the film for the first time. You were watching it the first time. I was commenting what they meant.
Yeah.
Like the hole in the wall. The guy, it's like Stephen crashes the hole. The beast in and made a hole in the wall. World's End.
Yeah.
All familiar. They meet an old friend, and it's the exact same as the previous one.
Oh yeah.
It's got a double meaning there, which I think one of them was definitely intentional.
It's the one. Yeah, it's like
it's kind of got a double
They
meaning.
haven't done that to every pub around here, and then it's exactly the same. Oh.
Double meaning. Second pub.
Yes, and also.
I wonder if that would.
And also now, if I
Edgar Wright films, anything clever you think about them probably is intentional.
And even if it's not intentional, it's still clever.
You've seen Spectacularly the video.
Spectacularly Anal.
Yeah, that's the title for our next film, which was the World's End original title, Spectacularly Anal.
I mean, just also, if I ever order shots now, I will be filled with an insatiable urge to go SHOTS shots, and everyone will have to look at me like,
World's End, watch it.
and it's just like, please tell me someone got that reference. And it's just, you are dead to me. Right. Oh, wow, first shelf is done. Now it's just a crap ton of Doctor Who DVDs.
Well, we can rush through these.
Yeah, let's rush through. And,
right.
There's a few actual movies here too.
Oh yeah, I've got mine here too. Okay. The Goonies, it's fun. It's 80s. What do you expect? Star Trek 09.
The lens flare! I can't see.
It's fun.
Yeah, otherwise it's fine.
It's fun.
Star Trek Beyond is the best of the reboots.
Oh yeah. Because of Simon Pegg's script. Yeah, we're slowly sucking Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg off, but they deserve it.
Also, and don't forget Christopher Nolan was sucking him off too. I must say, Beyond might also be my favourite because it gives a far larger role. Chekhov's role in that one is the largest out of the three, which is quite nice because
that was definitely editing. They
deliberately bigged up his role, which I'm glad because God, I loved Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, Force Awakens is pretty good.
I still think it's good, and I also have a little.
It is still good.
I have a PSA here for all the people who say it's episode 4 again. It is
very similar.
It is sort of is, but it also isn't. If you look at it this way, right? It takes elements
Ring theory.
It takes
Ring theory.
No, it's not Star Wars Ring theory. Don't worry. It takes elements from all 3 of the original trilogy. So the first act is basically the first act of episode 4. Young person on a desert, orphan on a desert planet finds a droid with important data. They go off, meet an old mentor, and go off to take it to the Resistance/Rebel Alliance. However, then this changes because then when they had to attack Adana in the second act of Force Awakens. It's really more like part 2 of Empire Strikes Back. Tan takes them to an old friend of his, whilst our main character learns about the Force from a small alien mentor. And then there's a big attack, and at the end the bad guys escape with one of the main characters in their clutches. Yeah. At the end of episode 5 it's Han, but at the end of Act 2 as Force Awakens it's Rey. Then finally Act 3 is like the finale of Return of the Jedi. A huge space assault on a massive battle station, whilst there's also a heated and emotional lightsaber duel.
Worse while explaining that.
Whilst simultaneously a heated lightsaber duel going on said battle station.
I think the problem I have with that is the fact that Return of the Jedi is meant to be the climax of an entire full trilogy of growth.
And it feels like it.
But it's just one film. So
callback. Thankfully, however, hopefully, Last Jedi will be great, and it probably will because Ryan Johnson. I love that guy.
I'm looking at the back of Minority Report. I don't think it aged that well.
Just saw the back cover of that DVD.
I don't think it aged well.
Speaking as someone who has read the 60s short story but not actually watched the film,
I'm the reverse.
Yeah, the short story is very good, but it is a short story, you know.
You read a lot more than me, so.
I'm quite the reader, yes.
I watch more than you do.
I've always
as well.
been meaning to watch it, and it doesn't look bad. Yeah, the short story is a really interesting sort of dissection of. I tell you what, I'm going to start watching Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams on Channel 4.
Oh, is that a documentary on it?
No, it's 10 of his short stories, sort of Black Mirror style, adapted into anthology episodes.
I'm watching that then. As soon as you say Black Mirror style, I need to buy that on DVD.
It is it's sci-fi anthology, you know.
Just gonna wipe the dust.
Oh yeah, good chance to clean out your shells. But I mean, the only thing that makes me sad about that is they haven't done my two favourite Philip K. Dick stories, specifically The Electric Ant and Oh to Be a Blobble.
Oh to Be a Blobble.
Yeah, they're both great. The Electric Ant is about a guy who discovers he is an android and realises that by altering a strip of a constantly moving reel of tape in his chest unit, he can alter his perception of reality. And the Oh to Be a Blobble is about essentially like in the future a brace of aliens called the Blobbles, who are literally just blobs, had a war with humanity, but then they came to a peace and the Blobbles settled on Titan and the moon of Saturn, and it's basically about a guy who was trained to be an infiltration agent during the war, so he turns into a blobble for 12 hours of the day. He turns into a blobble, and it's basically about how he comes into a relationship with this woman in the same with a blobble woman who for 12 hours of the day turns into a human. And then it's pretty sad, actually. It's quite but I
suggest we kind of speed through these a lot because we have like 45 minutes.
Yeah, let's get the fuck through these.
Punch Drunk Adam Sandler actually gives a good performance as essentially an autistic guy.
Adam Sandler can be good. Wait, so you mean he's just doing his normal thing?
No.
I can't make that joke. Yeah, Adam Sandler can be good.
I really like it. It won the Best Director at Cannes Film Festival as well.
Was it? Who directed it?
Paul Thomas Anderson.
What's he done?
There Will Be Blood.
That guy.
I really like it.
I think we need films like that to remind us that Adam Sandler can be very good and very funny.
Have you heard of Funny Games?
Nope.
It's directed by Michael Haneke. YMS loves him.
What's he done?
He probably most of them foreign language. This is a complete remake of his other film. He didn't change a single thing apart from the fact that it's English language.
Oh, okay.
Because he thought the only films with that is it couldn't reach enough people.
Yeah, and he wanted it.
And they just changed the actors. You know, Tim Roth.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
And it's a really clever commentary on this kind of home invasion film. It's frustrating, amazing. It's frustrating and amazing at the same time. And it does this one thing in the film, which you will know it when you see it, which will make you think, what a dick move to do for the audience. But seriously, look up the meaning of that and you will get it.
Okay.